the lecture that here we have to cover two parts. The first was like in this lecture on steady state energy balance for open system, which we have done, and this is actually in continuation of last lecture. Yesterday we stopped here somewhere, like after solving the problem that what are these latent heat, sensible heat, heat of vaporization, heat of condensation, as well what does boiler mean. And then I have shown you, I have given you the example of this like kettle which you see in common household, that in which we boil the water. So if we just increase this equipment in the size, also provide some heating mechanism on large scale, which is the burning of fuel in the industries, so you can heat a lot of water and you can produce large amount of steam in the industries. So this diagram was just for your information, it was shown you that this is boiler, and definitely it contain a lot of accessories, a lot of things which you are not aware at the moment. But just you can see that this is a big vessel in which there is a water, and we have some heating mechanism which is clearly not shown here, by the way, in this diagram. But if you just go to the Google, you can see various diagrams of the boiler. There is a heating mechanism and water is boiled. So when water is boiled, it is converted actually into the steam. And then I was giving you here a few example that like if you have something 1 atmospheric pressure, you can see that if I tell you that this is like 0 degree C and these are cube of water, like this is ice actually, water in the solid form. So after when you raise its temperature by heating it up, you can reach to the 100 degree C, and at 100 degree C it starts boiling. Then I told you that this here something we call subcooled liquid. So subcooled liquid is the liquid which is available at the temperature and pressure below its saturation. And what does saturation mean? Saturation is actually called that temperature at which phase change takes place. So you guys can, for simplicity, call it boiling temperature. So I wrote here although something called saturation condition. So let me write it here, boiling condition, for you to simply remember it. And you know, boiling condition mean all the at which something boils or change its phase. So here like subcooled liquid, I'm again defining it, the liquid which is available at conditions below its saturation temperature and pressure, or you can say boiling temperature and pressure. So in the other example I showed you, like if you keep on rising the temperature of this liquid, you can reach to, if this is water and if it is available at 1 atm, so when you will reach to the 100 degree C, so what happens to this? You guys said that here some vapors are formed. At that time, liquid temperature is 100 degree C, as well as the vapor which are formed just at that moment, they will also have temperature of 100 degree C. So at this moment, just at where boiling takes place or this saturation conditions achieve, this is called like saturated liquid, which is in the form of liquid phase, and all those which are converted to the vapor, they are called saturated vapors. Understand? So if someone asks you, okay, what does saturated vapor mean? So saturated vapor are those vapor which are available at saturation temperature and pressure. Condition mean here I am in temperature and pressure, I didn't write, but condition saturation temperature and pressure. So steam, for example, water, when it is converted to the vapor, actually we call it steam generally. So saturated steam, what does this mean? If I say saturated steam, its mean steam or the water vapor which are available at saturation condition. Like saturation condition, they are available at, if my pressure is 1 atm, then this temperature will be 100 degree C. Okay guys, can you tell me, I discussed earlier in the lecture, so can you tell me like if atmospheric pressure changes, so will there be any change in the boiling temperature?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So if I, okay, now next
Sir,
question.
can you
If I
repeat what you just said?
I'm asking Hasib, if I change atmospheric pressure, is there any change in the boiling temperature?
Yes, sir. होता है.
So if I increase the temperature to 2 atmospheric now, will there be an increase in boiling temperature or decrease?
Increase.
Sir,
Guys,
increase.
it's good. Just
डिक्रीज होगा.
simple rule. It increases. Someone who is saying decrease is wrong. It increases. Just remember, when you keep on increasing the temperature, boiling temperature keep on increasing. And if you keep on decreasing the atmospheric pressure, boiling point keep on decreasing. So when our atmospheric pressure becomes 2 atm for water, it usually boils at around 120 degrees C. So it's mean we can change the boiling point of water by changing the surrounding pressure. Can we do this?
सर
जी
सर एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर के कम होने से बॉइलिंग
बॉइलिंग
टेम्परेचर ज्यादा नहीं
टेम्परेचर
होता
कम
सर?
हो जाता है, कम हो जाता है यार। आपने एफएससी में कहीं पढ़ा
सर
होगा कि आप मरीज जाते हो तो पानी जल्दी बॉयल हो जाता है। रीजन ये है कि वहाँ पे एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर कम होता है। तो बच्चे एक आप शायद तब आए थे या नहीं, तो हमने ये पढ़ा हुआ है जैसे जैसे आप बॉइलिंग सॉरी एटमॉस्फेरिक प्रेशर बढ़ाते हो ना, बॉइलिंग टेम्परेचर बढ़ता जाता है। एंड द रीजन बिहाइंड दैट इज like you know that what does boiling point mean? Can you define it? Okay, just leave it for
यस
a
यस
minute. Actually,
समझ आया
just you are. I will just explain it to you later on separate at the end of the lecture. Kindly, if you will have issues, so kindly let me finish this concept, because I think any other don't have any issue with this. But just remember at the moment that when you keep on increasing the pressure, its boiling temperature keep on rising. Okay. Then I told you next thing, which was like superheated vapors. So for superheated vapor, mean earlier I told you yesterday, for example, the vapor which are just formed above the surface of this water. So I said that I can collect these vapor, bring it to somewhere else where I can heat them. Actually, in the industries we have all the closed systems, so these vapors can be transferred through some pipe to any other unit. One of your class fellows yesterday asked me that how can I collect these vapor. So just look at this diagram of kettle. Can you see? So in the house, you guys have seen that it has some lid, it has this cover, but when water boils, from somewhere steams come out of this vessel. I think you have seen the vapors coming out of this kettle in the your observation. Have you seen?
यस सर यस सर
Yes,
So
sir.
if
Yes,
I
sir.
just connect, definitely okay. You have seen because it has some opening here near its main lid. When it is covered, still vapors can come out of that system. So now, for example, when these vapor which were formed, just formed at the 100 degrees C, they are saturated vapor, and they usually come out of this kettle. If I just connect here some pipe and I can just transfer them to some other heating unit, is it possible to do so? Yes, in the industries it's very easy. In the laboratories you can see, like you can connect some pipe which can carry these vapor to some other place where you can heat them. So when you later heat them further above their saturation temperature, then they are converted to superheated vapors. So due to this reason, here I mentioned its definition now. Vapors which are available at above saturation condition, they are called superheated vapor. For example, when the vapors are just formed here, atmospheric pressure is 1, and if I raise their temperature now, if I just anyhow I just move them from here to somewhere else, I can collect them and I raise their temperature. So their temperature can be raised. The reason is they are already in the vapor state. Now any heat which will be added to them, will it be used in their phase change or increase in temperature?
Increase in temperature.
Good. Anything which is already in vapor form, if you will add more heat to this, that will cause increase in its temperature. And the example is similar. For example, you have here water. It is already liquid form and it is below saturation temperature. So if I will increase its temperature, what will happen? That heat will be added. This is subcooled, mean for example it is available at 50 degrees C, so I will add the heat. So this heat will be used to increase its temperature, and that heat is called sensible heat. So same will happen here. If I collect these vapor which were formed and I add the heat, their temperature will be increased and they will be converted to superheated vapor. So if it is water vapor, so we call it superheated steam, means steam which is available at above saturation condition. Now that can be even 1 degree above saturation, that can be 100 degree above, 200 degrees Celsius above its saturation condition. That's mean of different quality, like superheated steam will be of different quality depending on this, that how away it is from its saturation condition. Clear this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, so now when up to here you guys know that there is a steam of two types at least. What is that? Saturated and superheated steam. Saturated vapor of water are called actually saturated steam, and superheated vapor. Simple, if they are vapor of anything, they are called like superheated vapor. But if it is vapor of water, then we call it superheated steam. So actually in your book, you have a lot of steam tables. So those, what are those steam table? Actually steam table are nothing, just simple tabular data of various properties of steam. And what are those properties? We will look that one property which we were using yesterday in the calculation, that was enthalpy. Other, I told you that there is sometimes also provided the internal energy, and they are reported in the form of, we will look at the table in a minute. So that is like specific enthalpy, as well as there is a specific internal energy, and sometimes also data of specific like volume is also provided. So these kind of data which we commonly use in the calculation, that is provided in this table which we call steam table. So in the book which we are just following here for this energy balance chapter, so in this book actually I mean some tables for superheated and saturated, both type of steam, they are given in the form of like table from B5 to B7, and let's look at those. They are in the appendix B, and I have also mentioned here for your reference the page number of this PDF which we are following in this reference book, which is Elementary Principle of Chemical Processes, 4th edition. So I will jump to those and will help you how to read, will show you that how we can read I mean like different properties. But before that, just look at this example. For example, someone asks you, determine the vapor pressure, specific internal energy, and specific enthalpy of saturated steam. Saturated steam, just look at this word, which is available just at 133.5 degrees C. So it means just steam which is just formed at this temperature. So I mean, except this, yesterday you have seen this problem. Can you see the statement of this problem? So in this problem, if you remember, I told you that he mentioned actually in the question only that stream feed 1 is 120 kg per minute at 30 degrees C, and this is water, and other water is like this is liquid, both one is at 30 degrees C, one is at 65 degrees C, and steam was produced which was available at 17 bar, and he said this is saturated steam. So whenever what does this mean? This is saturated steam and 17 bar. It's mean your atmospheric or not atmospheric, I will say your surrounding pressure is 17 bar. So when surrounding pressure is 17 bar, your boiling point will be raised and it reaches to the 204 degrees C at the 17 bar. So it means if you keep on rising the pressure, as I was just telling you, yes, if you change the surrounding pressure, your boiling point increases. So if boiling this pressure reaches to the 17 bar, actually water will boil at 204 degrees C, and here written saturated means just produced at this pressure. So for all these, why I'm showing this here, we wrote something called specific enthalpy for all these three. So from where it came, let's look at those tables. Now they are actually steam tables which provide us such kind of data. So let me go to the book, and that page 642. Look here, yes, this is appendix 5 up to here table 4, and this table 5 is starting. So can you read it, what is written here, someone?
Temperature in degrees C, pressure in bar,
No,
water,
just the title of this, I mean this, I should say caption of this table.
properties of saturated stream, temperature
Yeah,
table.
temperature table. Good. Okay, just hold on here, guys. Look, he said properties of saturated steam. So it's mean if your steam is available and that is just saturated, that is not above the like saturation temperature. So we have to look at its properties, and this table here he mentioned to actually the word temperature table. So if you look at the first column, there is a temperature, and you can see that he started with 0.01, but after that there is 2, 4, 6, 8. So what pattern you observe here in the temperature? There is some even increase in temperature, like he has provided us data on the specific intervals of temperature. Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's look at another table. I will come back to this table, this second table. Properties of saturated steam in the form of pressure table. I think you can see here. So in this, if you observe here in the pressure column, now pressure column is like with specific interval. It was 0.006, then 0.008, 0.01, like here is increase of 0.002. So overall, they will be providing you, if you just take same temperature and pressure from both table, they will be giving you same value, but mostly table are presented here. Like here in this case, there is a specific increase in pressure. He has shown data with respect to that. In other table, there is a specific increase in temperature. So no difference. Overall, it depends. Sometime when you will be solving problem, you need some kind of data which is not available in this table. You can jump to the other side, like next table, which is saturated. For example, let's look at this now. Next, what is given here? After temperature, there is given the pressure. Mean like it at this temperature, if you wanna like look at the steam when it is produced, or either it is water. So actually, at this temperature, this can be boiled at this given temperature. And after that, here three properties are given. Can any one of you read what properties are given here?
Sir, specific volume, specific internal energy, or specific internal
Good.
enthalpy.
Specific volume, specific internal, specific enthalpy, and below those you can see there are two columns for each of those. Can you see?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
yes.
Water and
For
stream.
any given, yes, for any given condition, I mean the specific volume, specific internal energy, enthalpy, they are given for both. Either water, mean definitely it is something in the form of liquid, or if at that pressure you have produced the steam. So that's both properties of water as well as steam are given here. So for example, now if I just go back there and we look at the things which we just were using yesterday. Does same value exist in the table? So if you just look at this, sorry, here it is water and it is at 30 degrees C. So let's go back to the table. So did he mention anything, pressure, something here? No, only temperature. So which table I will be consulting here? Temperature table. So I will go to this temperature table and I will try to locate 30 degrees C. Can you see there? Here, sorry, I am here at 30 degrees C.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So for 30 degrees C, now what property we were looking for yesterday? We were concerned about specific enthalpy, because when we solve the internal material energy balance, so we need enthalpy. So for this water, now I need here, there are three columns. So there is a column of specific volume, internal energy, and then there is enthalpy. So let's go to the water side in that column. And 30, here it is. I think this value. Can you read this value? Where this item is?
125.7.
Yes,
sir.
let's compare it. Yes, is it the same which we wrote here in the diagram? Yes, it is 125.7 and its unit are presented there, kilojoule per kg. So let's look here, like yes, it is in kilojoule per kg. So this is the same value which was mentioned there. Clear? So if sometime someone tell you, okay, your temperature, like other temperature which was given to us yesterday was 65. So is there any 65 value here? I mean, if you look at the
No,
second
sir.
stream here, there is 65. So
No,
what to
sir.
do here now?
No, sir.
What to do here now? It is
Pressure
64 and
average
66.
Average ले
Yeah,
लेंगे.
good. You can just simply take the
Average
average. Here it is 64 and 66. Just take the average. So here the values are this third last column. I mean, the values are here 267 and 276. If you take their average, you can find value. I think it will be around 271, 272, something, 271 point something, I think. Mean almost, I'm not taking the, yes, he wrote here 271.9. So its mean exact answer will be that value if you just calculate. Clear? So this also we have seen from here. This was about saturated steam and we were just looking at the water, water side, because our data we were concerned about water. At its outlet there is a steam and he said that this is produced at 17 bar. So now where I will go? Which table I will look at?
Pressure table.
Yeah, good. Pressure table. The reason is because now he has given me the data for pressure, so I can just locate here pressure. Okay, this first column is for pressure. Again, next column with respect to that pressure, what is saturation temperature? And before that, one thing, guys, just look here. Let me come back to the temperature table. So you know, at 100 degrees C, water is converted to steam when pressure,
Vapors.
atmospheric pressure is 1 atm. So 1 atm is actually equal to 1.01 bar. So let's confirm from this table, like when you keep on increasing the temperature, either this pressure which he is showing, when temperature reach to 100, will our pressure be 1.01? Let's look at that. Yes, you can see here, I think this is 100, first column of temperature. When temperature is 100, it's mean at that point your pressure is 1.01. So it's
Yes, sir.
mean if surrounding pressure is 1.01, water will boil at 100. It can even exist in the form of liquid as well as vapors. As well, for example, you just decrease, you say I want to boil the water at 90 degrees C. It's mean your surrounding pressure should be what given here.
0.7 bar.
Yes, good. If you guys reduce the pressure to 0.7, your water will boil at even 90 degrees C. So now here what I'm doing, I'm decreasing the surrounding pressure. So in Murray, when you say that water boil at 98, it's mean actually their pressure is 0.94 bar. Okay. So let's come back to that point which I was telling you, that if we want to look for the enthalpy of steam which is available at 17 bar. So we said this is the column of bar, temperature, pressure. Then with respect to that, what are the pressures? Then there is specific volume, specific internal energy, and specific enthalpy. These all are given here. So
Sir,
pressure was 17 bar. Hold on, please hold on. 17 bar. So just look at the 17 bar here. Can you guys see 17 bar?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And at that, when pressure is 17 bar, what is saturation temperature? This is our pressure, surrounding pressure. So at this, when, because he said saturated steam, it's mean your surrounding pressure is already 17 bar, and what is the value of temperature?
204.
So did he write the same value? Yes, here it is written 204 in the diagram which he mentioned. It's mean it was correct. So saturation temperature at that pressure is 204. So we are not at the moment concerned about this. We are just looking for enthalpy. Now we will go to the last column. Here last is about enthalpy, and if you look at the enthalpy, there are three columns inside enthalpy actually. One is for water, other is for steam, and in between there is vaporization. So guys, yesterday we studied something which was called enthalpy of vaporization, the amount of heat needed to convert something from liquid to vapor. So if even you look at the first value, so if water is available at 1.1 bar and 102.3 degrees C, its enthalpy initially it will be 428. If you add amount of heat which is equal to 2250, it will be converted to the steam, and now steam has enthalpy which is total of this water plus heat added to this system. Clear? So evaporation is about that how much heat you need actually to convert something from water to the steam. So in this column, steam, the last column is actually about steam enthalpy. So let's go back at 17 bar and look at this. This is about 17, this value. At the top of page, second value, like 17 bar, and if you just go to the end of the page, you can see 2793. Is it okay? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 2793,
sir.
guys. So let's come back and look. Yes, he wrote here 2793 kilojoule per kg. So this is how, if in any of your question, he just mentioned that water or steam is available at some temperature and pressure, and you don't know what are the enthalpies, you can come back to these tables and can see that. And I will advise you, these are just few pages, so get them printed and keep them with you while you come for exam. These are a table from B5 to B7. Let's look at what is in B7. In B7, here, can you read these words? table B7. Can anyone of you?
Properties of superheated steam.
Yes, good. So we just saw, in the slide that there are two types of steam, superheated steam and saturated steam. So here it is superheated steam. So for superheated steam, actually here, data is given, but okay, overall you can see there is a pressure, then saturated water temperature. Okay, not only temperature, there are three properties. Can you see here some difference from the earlier tables? There is a pressure in the first column, and below pressure saturation temperature is given at that pressure mean. And then there is column of like, okay, other side you have temperatures, and below temperature the values of HU and V are given. So for example, you can see various values of HU and V. So guys, okay, let's skip this because it will become a bit complex for you. Just leave this table, because actually usually we teach in like third semester mostly these table of steam, but because this saturated is easy to read, you can easily get it. So I will advise you just to take these print of table B5 and B6. Leave that superheated steam table, because that is at the moment complex for you to read and understand the things. So but these two I have already clearly told you how to read them, how to find the things. But still you can also ask me again later on. You can go through this recording again if you are concerned you don't understand anything. So here in this slide where we came back, so determine the vapor pressure, specific internal energy, specific enthalpy of saturated steam at 133.5 degrees C. So in this case, which table you will be using?
temperature one.
Saturated steam at pressure table.
Yeah. One thing more here, let me tell you guys, like here, yes, here temperature is in degrees C, so it's fine if temperature are different units, so please convert them. And if for pressure, similarly here data is in bar, so whenever you are looking for these tables, please just look at the data, so that you can you don't make mistake. For B part, just skip it because it is about superheated steam, so I will just remove it from the slide. I don't want to confuse you with that. These are both related to superheated steam, so just leave this. You can practice some other example which are related to like saturated steam from the book. Okay. So here, just for your information, some simple thing how can you can simplify the equation. So in the chemical engineering, mostly the system which you have, they are reactor, distillation column, evaporator, heat exchanger. Meaning in these kind of unit, most of the time there will be no shaft work and kinetic and potential energy changes. They are usually negligible, as we have already solved some problem yesterday. So you have seen these are already in discussions. I have told you somewhere shaft work and kinetic potential energy are usually negligible. So sometime also heat flows, and only energy is in the form of like internal energy and enthalpy changes. So for all these such kind of system, usually your equation are very simplified. And for closed systems, actually this equation for this is for unsteady state system. It was actually Q plus W is equal to delta U plus delta KE plus delta PE, which we already saw today also. So shaft work, kinetic and potential energy changes are zero. Due to this, mostly equation is reduced to this form. Then for open systems, overall equation for open system steady state. So what was equation? Can anyone repeat complete equation?
Q
Steady
plus
WS is equal to again
plus change in kinetic energy plus change in potential energy.
good. Yes. So as he said, in most of the system, by the way, when you are solving the question, please read the statement and just look at which terms you have to skip. So you can just skip, like for example, shaft work, kinetic and potential energy. So your equation is usually reduced to this form: Q is equal to delta H. So this is just for information here. Like okay, here is one problem related to this. Something steam at 10 bar By the way, this is usually such system are usually we call them mechanical, like only something is getting in and out. So like change in internal energy plus that I mean this flow work is considered in this del H, and Q heat lost or heat added to the system. So in this system, like here there is one example: steam at 10 bar absolute, 10 bar absolute pressure. And by the way, pressure in the first column, they are absolute pressure in the table. Maybe I didn't tell you. So in steam table, when you look at those pressure, they are actually absolute pressure. So somewhere if you are given gauge pressure, kindly convert that to the absolute pressure before looking at the value in the columns. So steam at 10 bar absolute with 190 degrees C of superheat is fed to the turbine at this. The turbine operation is adiabatic. So what does adiabatic mean? Q is 0 and effluent is saturated steam at 1 bar. So out of this actually turbine means something is getting in and mean at this temperature and pressure condition and getting out at 1 bar pressure. Calculate the work output of turbine. I told you that turbine actually rotates the main something we call generator to produce the electricity. So we are asked to find here what is amount of work. So I was telling you here the application of the last slide, that in such case Q plus W is equal to del H plus delta KE plus delta potential energy. So already he said this is adiabatic. So Q is omitted from the equation. So only left is the shaft work, because turbine always rotates some equipment. So shaft work is there. And he asked you to calculate this. So WS will stay there. Is equal to delta H. It will be there because change in temperature and pressure is taking place. So delta H accommodates that will be there. But there is no kinetic and potential energy change. He already said here kinetic and potential energy are negligible. So your equation is just reduced to this form. So again, because this is related to superheated something, so just skip it. Otherwise you can directly see this is example of the book. He has provided you actually enthalpies at these given temperature pressure for superheated. So just use them directly after looking from the book and solve this. Otherwise just skip it. Another example just to show you that like for example here water is being pumped from a well in which water level is constant 20 feet below the ground level, somewhere here as he mentioned in the diagram, like water level from where you are starting pumping is 20 foot below the ground level. The water is discharged into a level pipe that is 5 feet above. When you just moving it to somewhere, that thing is just 5 feet above the ground. So overall, what is height of the water which is being pumped?
25.
25, because this we will take at 0 as our reference here, and then because pump is placed here, so we will just start from here, and this pump is pumping it to the 25. So assume that negligible heat transfer occurs. It means Q is 0, heat transfer negligible for this water during its flow. Calculate the electric power required for the pump. Now electric power, guys, remember somewhere I told you that work is in the form of sometime mechanical work, shaft work, and something when there is a shaft work. I told you that pump, they have actually motor, and that motor perform this work. So that he is asking us here to calculate the electric power. So power, that power is work per unit time. So you have to find here actually work required by the pump. If it is 100% efficient, its efficiency is 100%, nothing is lost, means completely converted to the work. You can neglect the friction in the pipe and the pump. So when you neglect the friction, so there is no change in temperature, it's mean internal energy change is 0, or like you can consider here enthalpy change became 0. So overall, this was the general equation for this system, which we studied for, because this is open system, we are pumping some liquid. So here he said Q is negligible, as well your kinetic energy and as well as this enthalpy becomes 0, and only equation is left, change in potential energy. Why? Because height change is taking place, and your work will be considered or consumed to just pump this water from this height to the above. So this will become something mgh2 minus h1. I think here, yes, its volumetric flow rate is given. You can convert it to the mass flow rate so that you can use here instead of m. So just use the water density, and g is gravitational acceleration, height h2 is 25, and this the reference point we will take here, that is 0. so that you can just quickly calculate it. Okay, these were just example of something which we just studied, that in mechanical balances your equations are simplified, either they become Q is equal to something or W is equal to something. So this is the problem, the last problem which we have to solve, and with this we will stop. Guys, are you here?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think in 5 to 7 minutes it will be done, and because today we have to finish, so due to this I'm just doing everything which we were supposed to finish. So overall, okay, let's look at this. Superheated steam at 300 degrees C and 1 atm, be absolute. He already told here this is absolute pressure, and this is superheated steam which is available at 300 degrees C and 1 atm is to be fed to a heat exchanger. Guys, one thing here, let me tell you, if there will be something related to superheated steam in the question, I will already give you the specific enthalpies, because I told you that you should be able to see at enthalpies, and specific volume and internal energy from of saturated steam. For superheated steam, if there will be something, I will give you, like here, they are already presented in this diagram. So superheated steam at 300 degrees C and 1 atm is fed to the heat exchanger. Like there is some heat exchanger to which you have to feed some steam which is at these conditions. Okay, it is produced, this steam which you need, this is produced by mixing available stream of saturated steam at 1 atm discharged from the turbine at this flow rate with a second stream of superheated steam which is available at 400 degrees C and 1 atm. So overall, in order to make this steam, which is actually outlet steam of this mixture, this we are feeding to some heat exchanger. We are not, we don't have here that heat exchanger, what is its purpose, or just leave that. What you just need is that steam should have temperature of 300 degrees C and pressure of 1 atm, and that is superheated steam. And in order to produce that, we have two other streams which mix somewhere in the mixer, and they produce this stream. And how they are being mixing, like one is saturated steam which is have flow rate of 1150 and kg per hour, and one at 1 atm it is there and saturated at 100 degrees C, and it is being mixed with superheated steam which was available at 400 degrees C and 1 atm. I think that's it. And what he asked, okay, calculate the amount of superheated steam at 300 degrees C produce, this one which is being produced here, and the required volumetric flow rate of 400 degrees C stream. Because if you read through whole the question, he only told one flow rate, he didn't mention other two flow rates. So what is this question, by the way? Can you see, is it energy balance or material balance?
Material balance.
Material
Guys,
balance.
we were just studying material energy balance, and I came back to material balance. No, look,
Sir, energy
this
balance है.
this question is combined material and energy balance. Due to this, we call it simultaneous material and energy balance. Both are applied together. Let's look at this, how they are applied together. Actually, here we are going to conclude our syllabus, that how they can be used together, because up to here you guys have already covered like material balance as well as energy balance, and this is open system and steady state. So let's look at the solution quickly. So in this, I have drawn a clear diagram again for you. Here there is a mixer in which two streams are getting in, and I mentioned here the conditions which were given. So when in the diagram, and I mentioned here, okay, I am using a bit different conventions here. I took it like a mass flow rate 1 which is given, a mass flow rate 2 is missing, and mass flow rate 3 is missing. And in the question, if you go back, he asked you to actually calculate these two flow rates. He didn't ask us to do some calculation related to energy balance, but he asked us to calculate material balance. So okay, let's solve this as well. He said this is adiabatic process, no heat loss in the mixer. Somewhere he mentioned, okay, in the question. This mixer is actually adiabatic, no heat loss from here. So Q is equal to 0. Did he mention something here? Some work is being done?
No, sir.
In the
No,
mixer, there
sir.
is nothing. Two streams come in, they just mix with each other and they leave. Nothing is happening. So here, their work becomes 0. I'm just writing these things so that later we can solve it. So from here, by looking at the conditions. Okay, will there be any change in kinetic energy? Actually, change in kinetic energy will take place when there is something. He mentioned that there is a velocity change. Is there any? No.
No.
Because in the earlier question somewhere you studied related turbine, there was velocity change, so then we took it to consideration like this kinetic energy. So here there is no change in kinetic energy definitely. Is there any change in like something we call in the height or any discussion like this? No. So
No,
due
sir.
to
No.
this
No.
change, potential energy is also zero. So these four terms are zero in the energy balance equation at the moment if I have to apply energy balance equation. So in this problem, what he asked you to calculate actually M2 and M3. So when we have to solve like problem which involve material energy balance, I'm going to use the same strategy which we used to solve for material balance. That first of all take the basis, because here when we have to find material balance we have to follow that procedure or somehow those things. So bases are 1R. Why I took 1R? Because here he mentioned one flow rate is per unit time. So when there is per unit time, we take it as a basis. We will perform degree of freedom analysis, and you know that this is non-reactive system. Is it reacting? No, this is simple
No,
material
sir.
balance system in which two streams mix, so non-reacting. Number of unknown minus number of equation. How many unknowns?
2.
Sir, 2.
Which one? M2 and M3.
M2 and
M2
M3.
and M3.
Okay, how many equations you can write here related to material balance? You remember, if you just recall
Overall,
something from material balance, we can
A
either write
combination.
overall, yes, overall, or mean like overall, because it is one component, either overall or component balance, both are same thing here. Okay, because if I ask you, okay, write the equation for water, so can you write? You will write same equation, 1150 plus M2 is equal to M3, and it is overall. So there is only one equation possible from material balance. Do you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
So it's mean
Yes,
degree of
sir.
freedom is 1 here. So when degree of freedom is 1, we can't solve the problem. So can we look at something else? Here he mentioned few things related to the energy, because he was talking saturated, superheated steam. He was talking about the enthalpies. So can I use some energy balance equation for you? This is something very new. Yes, you can use energy balance equation in such kind of questions where there is both like things related to material as well as energy. And in real world problems, most of the time you will come across such situation in which you guys have to solve material and energy balance together. And in stoichiometry too, in the second year, you guys solve a lot of problems which involve material and energy balance together. Otherwise, you can solve those problems. So here I can use other equation which is energy balance equation. So in that case, my unknown are 2, then my equations will be 2. Then 2 minus 2 give me the 0. It's mean I can solve for unique solution. So it's mean one equation I will write here will be for energy balance, and that is other equation is of material balance. And if I just combine them, hopefully I will be able to solve the problem. Because you know that in order to find unknown, I need equation. That equation can be any equation. You remember that implicit, explicit relations, then based on the components, we wrote a lot of equations earlier in the material balance. Clear this point?
Yes, sir.
So in such kind of question, you can take it like you can combine both equations of material balance, whichever you can write, as well as energy balance. So overall, I said that when I will take both equations, then my degree of freedom will become 0 and I can go for unique solution. So let's apply the balance of water here. For water, or overall you can say, I am writing here M1 plus M2 is equal to M3. Why I'm not writing dot? Because I already selected time as a basis, so I will be taking that as a simply like kg in amount in kg. So it will be 1150 kg plus M2 plus is equal to M3. Is it okay? You see from where it came. Here it is
Yes, sir.
1150. Here it is 1150. Other material we don't know the amount. It is M2 we name it, and the last one we also don't know. We name it as M3. Is it okay to write this equation? I wrote this. Okay. Next equation which we can write, I already told you, that is energy balance equation. And for energy balance, this is the general equation. This is open system and steady state. Why steady state? Because all the steam coming in is going out. Nothing is stored here. So this equation we will write, and already I told you that 4 terms will become 0. I already discussed in the start here. Q, WS, delta KE and delta PE, all these are 0. It means your delta H is equal to 0. Okay with this? Because I already
Yes,
mentioned
sir.
here why Q is 0, why WS, why these all are 0, because he told few things as well as some are obvious. So delta H is 0 is my equation. And what does this delta H mean actually? H of output streams or outlet streams minus H of inlet streams. Mean this already you know when you solve energy balance. So del H is equal to actually difference between the enthalpy of outlet stream minus inlet stream. Outlet stream how many? There is a 1. For this
One.
I will write H3 minus H1 minus H2, but that being H we don't have here, but what we have is like specific enthalpies, at least you know that. So you can write the formula in the modified form that mass flow rate or mass multiplied by specific enthalpy. That's enthalpy divided by mass. So minus this already mean we also covered in last lectures about energy balance on open system. So you can write the equation in this form. Why I'm writing actually in this form? The reason is because I am looking for the mass, and another equation which I already write mean that contain the mass terms. So I will write such equation in which I can get the mass. So when I write this equation, how many of values of these you have? I think you have all the enthalpies already. Let me go back to this. You can see that all enthalpies are there. Yes, mass is only 1 of M1 is given, so I will put all those values in the equation. I put like M3, I don't know, I just put it as a variable. H3 I have, M1 I have, H1 I have, then M2 I don't have, and you can write this equation. That is your equation 2. I just simplified this equation. Now these are two equations up to here which have two variables, and those variables are M2 and M3. You guys can simultaneously solve those equations. What I did, I used the like from equation 1 which was on previous page, that M3 is equal to 1150 plus M2. I inserted that value of M3 in this equation, and I just simplified the equation, simple mathematics, and I got the answer of M2 is equal to 2244 kg. What about M3? I can easily solve it from equation 1. Now I will put the value of M2 and I can get the answer. Yes. So what was asked in the question? Let me go back here. Something I have done extra. Okay, calculate. He asked you, calculate the amount of superheated steam which is available at 300 degrees C, and this is M3 actually, which we are saying M3, which is available at 300 degrees C. So calculate the amount. Amount means either you have to find mole or mass. So here you have to find its mass. Produce 300 degrees C produce after mixing, as well as required volumetric flow rate of 400 streams. So in this case, he asks you not calculate amount, to calculate the volumetric flow rate. So what to do now? Can I convert that mass into the volumetric flow rate? Yes,
Yes.
guys, you can do.
Density,
What
sir.
you will need
Density,
is
sir.
just simply density, and in the table you just saw there are specific volume values. So if we know the specific volume of that stream which is available at 1 bar and 400 degrees C, and I think it is superheated steam, so in that case specific volume is given here. For example, it is 3.11 cubic meter per kg. I have just seen from the table, so that you can use here. Then mass multiplied by this specific volume. This is just reciprocal of density, so that will give you the answer. Here we found it. And at the end, because we wrote the answer here in the simple form amount, and this is volume, because you were supposed to write the answer in the volumetric flow rate and mass flow rate, so just write it in the form of m3 dot kg per hour and this cubic meter per hour. Why? Because in the start we took the basis of 1 hour, so all these values that you calculated are actually based on 1 hour. With this we are done. Yes, that's it. So overall in this lecture here, overall in both sections we have covered like unsteady state, open system, energy balance, and then few things related to steam tables, how to use them, and the last problem we solved included both material and energy balance combined. Thank you so much, and this is chapter 7 of your reference book, which I already shown you up to 7.6 section we have covered. This only last section, small section 7.7 was not covered during all this. Thank you.